Get out before you come to a bad end!
God be with you, hermit.
I don't have time for you. Go away.
Folk in the village are saying you've made a miraculous recovery. And since then, you won't let anyone near you. What happened?
Nothing happened. I just can't stand all these people coming here and disturbing me. Can't I have a moment's peace?
Judging by what I've heard about you, you're a bit fishy, hermit.
What do you mean?
Well, there's a lot of talk about you in the village. They say you've made a pact with the devil, and are summoning demons from hell.
Old wives' tales. What do I care about such nonsense?
Well, but supposing it isn't nonsense?
Of course it is.
The apparition was seen by the conciliatory cross at night.
Old wives' tales.
I went to take a look, and it really is askew. But it wasn't magic that Hellspawn was wielding. It was a shovel. There was a hiding place beneath the cross. And the man digging there at night didn't have time to put the cross back in the right position.
By all the saints! So someone was digging there. What has that to do with me?
There was a brand new cloak of the Knights of the Cross in the hiding place. It's clear that the man doing the digging hid it there. Maybe to cover up who he really is. And what he's planning.
I still don't know what you want from me. What have I got to do with some cloak?
I found some pretty interesting documents of the Order.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I reckon you do, Ambrose. According to one of the documents, you were appointed Seneschal of the Knights of the Cross with the Red Star. Or are you going to tell me it was some other Ambrose?
I'm not going to tell you anything. I don't know anything about any documents.
Wait, jetzt interessiert mich mal. Moment. Ich lade jetzt mal neu. Und ich zieh mal den Wappenrock an. Gucken, ob er den erkennt.
God be with you, hermit. Folk in the village are saying
Nothing happened. Can't I have a...
Judging by what...
What do you mean?
Well, there's a lot...
Old wife... Of course.
The apparition...
Old...
I went to... There was a hide...
By all the saints...
There was a brand... Maybe to...
I still...
The man who took things from the hiding place can't have been some chance thief. Because he left a purse full of coin there.
So keep the groschen, lad. And stop pestering me.
I found some pretty interesting
I don't know what you're talking...
I reckon you do. Or are you going to tell me...
I'm not going to tell you any...
A few nights ago, a herdsboy saw a black horseman ride into Apollonia. He thought it was an apparition. But I think a demon would have known the road to Apollonia and wouldn't have spun round and round at the crossroads like a top.
Why are you telling me this?
Because I found a black horse stabled in a pen here. In the woods below the rocks. A well-fed, healthy horse. Black as charcoal. The man who rode on it wasn't an apparition. Or the devil.
Why are you telling me all this? For God's sake! Stop this nonsense right now.
That's enough. I think there are enough fishy things going on around you for me to tell the bailiff. But you're in luck. All I'm after is that broken sword. So, come clean.
You're wide of the mark. But in the end, maybe you could help me.
What do you want help with, Ambrose?
I'm not Ambrose. He died some time ago. I am Conrad, Knight of the Cross with the Red Star.
Ambrose is dead, you say? How did it happen?
He was an old man. Unfortunately, he was already at death's door when I found him.
And you had nothing to do with his death?
Of course not. Ambrose was my friend. I'd known him for 20 years. He was a good member of the Order, and an outstanding teacher.
Ambrose was a member of your order?
More than a member. He was the Seneschal, second in rank only to the Grand Master. He served the Order for many years before getting into a dispute with the Prague chapter and the Inquisition. Then he had to disappear. I was the only one to know where to look for him. But I came too late. All he managed to tell me was his last wish.
What was his last wish?
He wanted me to find a hiding place beneath the conciliatory cross where he'd hidden his past. He sensed that death was coming for him. He wanted me to help settle his affairs. And he also longed to hold his old sword in his hands one last time. I went to his hiding place that very night. But by the time I got back, Ambrose was dead. I put the blade on his grave in place of a cross.
What are you doing in the hermit's hut then?
In Prague, I got into a serious dispute. Ambrose was the only person who could help me. That's why I came to see him.
I'm guessing that the diabolical horseman scaring people round these parts was you.
That was not my intention, believe me.
So the sword is on Ambrose's grave. Will you tell me where I can find it?
You want to disturb his rest?
I just want the sword, that's all. It's no use to him now.
All right. I'll tell you where his grave is if you fulfill Ambrose's last wish instead of me. I can't do it.
Klar.
All right. What am I supposed to do?
Listen carefully, then. There's an old widow called Margaret living in the village. Take this cross to her, and say to her exactly these words. Margaret, Ambrose forgives you, but his brother must get what is rightfully his.
Margaret, Ambrose forgives you, but his brother must get what is rightfully his.
That's right.
I hope she'll know what this is about.
Don't worry, she will. Give her the cross, and I'll tell you where you can find the sword. Benedictio Domini sit tecum.
Ja, das ist von den Söldner. Den Söldner, den wir hier gekillt haben.
Just a little bit. What will it be?
What do you have?
Maybe next time then.
Könnte eventuell Probleme geben im Dorf. Ich wüsste jetzt nicht, was der Söldner mit dem Dorf zu tun hätte, dass den das interessiert. Wir werden es ja sehen.
Wie geht's, mein Freund?
I'll have a look at the wares.
Du wirst sicher zufrieden sein. Bis bald.
Good day. What would you like?
Vogti. Schlaf gut, erhol dich gut. Und wie gesagt, nochmal. Ein hervorragender Start ins Wochenende für dich. Und dein Urlaub. Du hast vorhin noch gar nicht geantwortet, was du machst.
This might seem strange, but I'm supposed to give you this.
A cross? Mother of God. What's the meaning of this?
Margaret, Ambrose forgives you, but his brother must get what he deserves.
Ambrose? The hermit?
It was his wish that I give you the cross and the message. He said you'd know what it's about.
Oh my God! By all that's holy, it couldn't possibly be him. All those years, I'd lost hope. I never forgave myself. I committed a mortal sin.
Well, I don't know what you did.
Alles
This
klar.
is supposed to be your absolution.
No, there's no absolution.
Geht's morgen
Not
direkt
yet.
los, oder
You
was?
said it yourself. Not until Ambrose's
ja,
brother gets what he
schöne
deserves.
Grüße an Niki.
The bones. They still lie there outside the wall. Help me. His soul must find peace.
All right, I'll help you. But you'll have to tell me more.
Thank you, lad, thank you. But not here. We must go to the graveyard. That's where my curse lies.
Nope, Sonntag, aber mache ich. Alles klar.
Let's go then.
Dann lass dich
No
nicht
time to waste.
aufhalten und schlaf gut.
Here it is.
What does the graveyard have to do with absolution?
Hold on. Not so fast. I'll tell you everything. First, tell me... Are you afraid of the dead?
Nope.
It's the living I'm more afraid of than the dead.
One should fear the dead. But in the end, it's probably a good thing that you have no fear. You see, one poor soul is waiting for redemption. For years and years.
Ah, I get it now. Ambrose's brother has to get what he deserves. This is about the soul of Ambrose's brother.
His name was Jan. He lies outside the graveyard wall, buried without rites. He's been there for 30 years.
What happened to him?
The memories are painful. We were childhood friends, and Jan loved me. Only, I chose his friend Vashek over him. He couldn't get over the rejection. So he lay in wait for Vashek one evening.
And Vashek killed him.
It was an accident. They quarrelled. Jan drew his sword first, and Vashek had to defend himself. Apparently, they got close to the cliff edge while they were fighting, and Jan fell. When they found his body at the bottom of the cliff, people thought he'd killed himself. The only one who didn't believe it was Jan's brother.
Did you see it? Were you there?
No, but I believed my Vashek. He would never have lied to me. It pained him till the day he died, and he lived in fear of Jan's brother creeping up behind him one day and taking his revenge. In the end, that fear ate him up from inside.
Why doesn't he have a proper grave?
Because suicides can't enter the kingdom of heaven. They have to be buried outside the walls, like the unclean. The worst thing about it is that Jan didn't kill himself. He didn't deserve such a dishonorable burial, and it's my fault. I said nothing.
Ah, the conciliatory cross where they saw the apparition. That's to commemorate Jan.
His brother Ambrose had it built there. And those diabolical apparitions. It's my fault for saying nothing. God is punishing me for my sins.
Nonsense. God wouldn't use a diabolical apparition to scare you, would he? And what's more, Ambrose forgave you, didn't he?
Only on the condition that Jan's bones will be laid to rest in consecrated ground. Help me lay him to rest in a proper grave, please.
But without telling the priest and gravedigger. Isn't that sacrilege?
That's the only way we can put right a terrible mistake. Jan didn't kill himself.
Tun wir's.
All right. We'll give him a proper burial. Jan's soul has the right to eternal rest.
Thank you. The Lord will pay you back 100-fold. There's a rose bush outside the graveyard wall. You'll find his bones beneath it. Please bury him beside my Vashek. Here, beneath the pine tree. In that way they'll be reconciled at least in death. Then place Ambrose's cross on his grave to bless their reconciliation.
Okay, warum konnte das jetzt der Einsiedler nicht machen? Kannst du jetzt echt nicht darüber springen?
I am the handmaid of the Lord. Be it done unto me according to your Jan did nothing wrong. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily.
Your journey ends here, Jan. I don't know what you have on your conscience. But rest in peace. I don't know much about prayer in these situations, but... Our Father, there are many sinners in this world, but in the end, we all face your judgment for what we should have done, but lacked the courage to do. So forgive me this little sacrilege. You know better than anyone that it was the right thing to do. Thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven, and deliver us from evil.
Amen.
Amen.
God in heaven, grant poor Jan eternal salvation. So many years in unconsecrated ground, and I blamed myself. Amen. Thank you. May God reward you, lad. I'd given up all hope.
I understand. A sin like that is a hard cross to bear.
30 years. I thought about it every day.
It's all right now. You did the right thing. Everything else is beyond the law of man.
I'd like to reward you somehow.
I expect you wouldn't want anyone to hear about all this, right?
Well, if you... Will you keep it to yourself?
I don't want anything. And I won't tell anyone.
Thank you. My nephew is a tailor, and he knows a thing or two about alchemy. If you ever need anything from him, I'll put in a word for you. God be with you, Henry.
The Lord be with you. What do you need?
I'm Henry. And you must be the local gravedigger, right?
Ignatius, master of the sod, at your service. Looking for a final resting place, are you? Or do you need to bury a dead goat?
Now, I'm more interested in the grave-digging profession as a whole.
Ah, once you try it, you'll never want to do nothing else till the day you die.
You got a big cemetery here. Pretty nice, too.
Ain't it? But being the gravedigger, I'll never have a place of my own here. They'll throw me by the wall like a dog and bury me without ceremony. But when I'm dead, I won't care. If it was up to me, I'd even bury the suicides in hallowed ground. We're all equal before death and the Lord. This game of better and worse places of final rest don't count for nothing.
What's the story with the dead people?
The story? They're dead. What more is there to tell?
But you said there's been a lot of people dying around here recently, right?
Well, it ain't usual for people to get offed by the cartload out here in the sticks, if you ask me. What do you reckon?
I don't know. Hadn't really thought about it that way.
That might be the reason, then, hey?
What?
Look, I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just saying there's a lot of people dying. If things keep up like this, I'll be out of work in no time. There'll be no one left to bury.
Being a gravedigger must be a lonely job, eh? What are your duties?
Funny a young lad like you is so interested in grave digging. Not something you see every day.
Well, I'm only asking. No real reason.
That figures. Youngsters these days wouldn't know hard work if it bit 'em on the arse. It's no wonder I can't find any help.
Are you offering me a job?
No. I'm giving you a warning. You ain't cut out for this trade.
And how do you know that?
You've got that look. I can spot it a mile away.
Could you be more specific?
You just aren't cut out for it, and that's that. A gravedigger needs passion. A sense of duty ain't enough. It's a service, a labour of love, and the meaning of life all in one, lad.
Okay.
Have you been a gravedigger your whole life? Have you ever thought of changing your trade?
I did think about it once, if I'm honest. I wanted to be a knacker in Yitchin, but some fool with friends in high places got the job, though he can't even tell a shovel from a spade. That really pissed me off, so I said, fuck it. Why would I want to dig graves for people who don't appreciate my craft?
So you've always been here otherwise?
And what of it? Do you think I get bored here? Not recently, I don't. But I think I told you that already.
I'm not from these parts, and I've seen a few conciliation crosses around here. What do they mean?
The same as where you come from, I reckon. They mark spots where the sins of man came to be regretted later.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
Aye, like when a fella buries an axe in someone's head over something stupid and then comes to regret it. Or if the law sees to it that he regrets it. The sinner then has to erect a conciliation cross to mark the site of his evil deed.
Where does he get the cross from?
Where do you think? From me.
You're in charge of that too? Stone cutting?
I know how to cut a cross out of stone. And what of it? With the soft sandstone around here, it's child's play.
So they're all your work?
I wish. I've only sold 2 or 3 recently. Most of these here are right old. You might find a few stories about them in the village chronicle what's kept at the rat house. All I know is a young fella once jumped off the cliffs near Takoff, and folks say the place is cursed.
Do you know any more stories?
Aye, I do, but I'm not telling you any. I'm not an old fishwife.
Unfortunately, I had to bury both my parents recently.
My condolences, lad.
Thank you. I just don't know if it was done right.
Did you witness their deaths?
Unfortunately. They were killed in front of my eyes.
Oh, I understand that's never easy. But if you closed their eyes and buried them in consecrated ground, you've nothing to worry about.
I dug their grave next to our smithy. We didn't have a church in our village.
Well, That can't be avoided sometimes. Don't let it bother you. As long as you picked the spot with good intentions, that's all that matters. I'm certain their souls went straight to heaven. You needn't worry. You did everything right, lad.
But seriously, Ignatius, tell me about yourself.
Gravedigger, knacker, Snorter's constant companion, and lover of colourful sunsets, all in one man.
You've nearly got more titles than the Emperor himself.
Well, I have been doing it for almost 40 years now. The bailiff pays me well, in coin and sometimes in goods.
Sounds appealing.
Not all that glitters is gold, lad. A gravedigger's got it hard, and so does a knacker. I pick up dead animals on the side of the road. That's the knacker's job. You could say I have a knack for it. That's why people say I'm unclean. If I had children, they wouldn't be allowed to marry anyone besides an executioner or a gravedigger. It's so ingrained in folk. A fella takes care of things they wouldn't want to handle themselves, and this is how they repay him. Can't even go to the tavern no more. Farewell.
Aw.
Amen.
Ich möchte wissen, ob der einen Schlüssel hat. Okay.
Ja!
Quick. God. Go.
Bin ich denn jetzt zu schwer? Nee.
Who's that? We'll pray for a quick death, you bastard.
Whoa, whoa. I've been waiting for you.
Why thought we were fighting fair.
I'll beat you to a bloody pulp, fucker! I'll rip your arse open! Mercy, leave me be.
Okay. Ähm. Hm. Lila Waffenrock. Mhm. Aber Google ist wertvoll. $273 dafür. Ja, das ist ja erstmal egal. Ist trotzdem wertvoller als alle anderen Sachen. Darum geht's ja.